Okay, Drupal 7 fire hose. Okay? Because we don't know how much time we have. All right? So again, some of my slides came from Balachi, some came from Hubspot. So we're just going to go through here. So what's SEO all about? Okay? SEO is a way for, your website is for humans to read, right? If you want machines to read it, we should have a session on semantic web. Okay? So Google and other search engines try to figure out what it is that is content, it is useful, mostly text. Okay? For most businesses today, this is table stakes. For those of you guys who don't play poker, it just gets you in the game as a business. SEO gets you in the game. It makes you visible. Okay? Drupal rocks for SEO, and I've decided we're not going to talk about that much. Okay? So this is one of the HubSpot slides. So SEO is about getting found. We'll talk a little about conversion. Conversion is getting your web visitor to take an action. Often you want to capture a lead from your website. And then there's analysis that can be done on that. We'll talk about all this. Okay, just as background, SEO, search engine optimization, CRO, conversion rate optimization, LPO, landing page optimization. Okay, I'm going to talk about some of the tools and processes that I use, which, for example, is why I happen to keep track of what HubSpot's out there doing. Okay, I'll give you some overview perspective, and I'll give you some gory detail, and at the end, I'll give you time for Q&A. Okay? So we talked a little bit about resources. We talked about the Balachi book. There are podcasts. Lullabot and Balachi have done some podcasts and some training videos. You might check those out. I talked about the books and the organizations that I attend, Content Strategy and Atlanta Web Design Group. Okay? Buy Ben's book. It'll make him happy. Visit Balachi.com. If you want SEO, they're my client. They're my partner. They also do SEO for me. Clout by Colleen Jones. I talked about this book just came out very recently. Colleen was a speaker at South by Southwest. She runs the Atlanta Content Strategy Group. It's a good group. You should check that out. Web Design for ROI. We'll talk about this again, but how do you make people come to your website? You make it relevant, you make it credible, and you make it easy. So we'll talk more and more about that. So what is conversion? We'll talk a little bit about conversion now. I like the way that the book picture didn't display. That is just, this is converting from Keynote to PowerPoint 5 minutes before your presentation. So there's a book called Waiting for Your Cat to Bark, and it's about, yes, exactly. So it's about, as a marketer, how do you anticipate what visitors or prospective buyers really want? Okay? So are you going to sit around and presume you know what's best? And one of the good examples that I had, and this isn't in my presentation, was I went to Kennesaw State for SoCon a year ago, not the most recent one, and there was a guy who had worked for the Obama campaign from a company called Optimizely that did A/B testing for the Obama campaign. And what he said was that all the experts tried to pick like the best image and the best button text, and they were all convinced that button A was going to work or image B was going to work, and they were like completely wrong. So when you're looking at doing conversion and you're looking at analysis, do the testing. Figure out what works best. Oh, now it wants to show up. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay. Inbound marketing. This is what HubSpot is trying to sell. Okay? But inbound marketing is really SEO and all the things that drive traffic to your website. We call it free, right? Because we don't necessarily have to go pay an agency to do it. But it's not really free because somebody has to work on it. So either you're going to work on it or somebody's going to work on it. Why do we do it? Because getting website leads off the website is important. It's a low-cost The economy hasn't been great, right? So lots and lots of people are trying to figure out what are the low-cost means to get good leads. And that's really what this is about. So HubSpot uses this statistic. They have lots of statistics. The companies that blog get 52% more traffic. That's not too surprising. We have worked in the past for MailChimp. They're friends of mine. Before they were MailChimp, they were Rocket Science Group, and they did my systems administration 10 years ago. They got out of that business. But they're a very good example of somebody who blogs. They blog to their audience, and they create a following through that. So companies get customers now by websites. We know that. And blogs and content, and we've talked a little bit about that. I'm not going to go into length today about social media and social media driving traffic, but I'll give you a few examples. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Flickr are kind of the top 5 of social media sites out there, and we can dispute that or not, but that's where I see it. So inbound marketing, this just gives you an idea of all the things that you can do to satisfy your customer, your prospective visitor, to try to get them to come to your site, to get them to engage, to maybe deliver something of value, and to have them find what they're looking for and convert that into a lead. So I'm not going to read this, and I'm going to post it so you guys can look at it tomorrow. Why SEO? Okay? This is Ben's slide, but you know it's going to make you sexy and rich, and we all know how sexy and rich we are from SEO. So it does definitely level the playing field. It can make you a big company. You know, we're in the PR business. PR makes small companies look like big companies and compete effectively. SEO does the same thing. It can crush competition. I'm going to show you some examples today of where some companies do better than others on the web, and you can make the decision for yourself. So why Drupal for SEO? I noticed that, oh my goodness. This is not the way this worked earlier. So I'm gonna load these all up because I wasn't anticipating it to do this. So site builders, themers, programmers, all these people use Drupal, right? All these kinds of job titles, content managers. Drupal has all kinds of great features. I said I wasn't really going to go into that. You can read this. I think that most of the people in this audience are Drupal users and understand the kind of content that can be captured in Drupal and presented in Drupal, and we'll talk about tweaking that. So that's a very interesting, it didn't do that in Keynote. Okay, my goodness. So global redirect. So global redirect, it takes your old page.html and converts it to /page. HTML purifier is just a way to keep malicious code out. Mollum is a company separate from Acquia, but which provides, basically it will keep blog spammers out there. Meta tags, node words will provide better tagging on your website and tagging content. Page titles need to be unique, basically. So when you go through your website, you'll see that page titles need to be unique. This is kind of interesting because this is going to keep me on track. Path auto is going to auto name your path, okay? So great SEO presentation by MediaFirst, Jim Caruso, or whatever the page title needs to be. But those kinds of page titles are going to be better than Node 87, right? So scheduler lets you schedule content for the future. I think I just lost one. You can yell it out if you...
Path redirect.
Path redirect. So path redirect. In the old days, I had like services.html, right? Because I had an old HTML site. Now I just have MediaFirst.net/services. So I redirect the old page to the new page. Google likes that. They appreciate it, and you don't lose SEO juice or Google juice. And I'm going to keep saying Google, but it doesn't have to be Google, right? Okay, XML sitemaps and sitemaps. XML sitemap is a sitemap you submit that gets created by the XML sitemap module and gets created in Drupal and gets submitted automatically to the search engine. So it gets automatically submitted to Google, Bing, Yahoo. Okay? And then there's a sitemap that humans can look at as well. 404 search, thank you. Which means if somebody goes to your site and they don't find something, it gives you an alternate as to what to do. And by that I mean it will allow you to say, to automatically redirect your users to the next best guess alternative according to what your search engine is. So you can use Drupal site search, you can use Solar Search. I happen to use Solar Search. I happen to use faceted search with Solar Search. It's a feature of having an Acquia subscription, which I use for MediaFirst.net. So, are you guys familiar with Solar Search? S-O-L-R, Solar Search. So, the nice thing about Acquia's Solar Search is it does the searching off your site, the horsepower, and you don't have to actually configure your own Solar search engine, which you could download and configure on your Linux machine and set up and run. I don't know if everybody would rather do it themselves. I'm the kind of person who doesn't want to do it myself because I've done most of the other stuff myself. So in this Drupal, this is about Drupal SEO modules. These are in the Drupal SEO checklist, which is a actual module that was developed by Valachi and I think has some other co-maintainers. But this version actually, these pictures actually are using the vertical tabs module, which some people like. I don't like it, but lots of people like it because it hides the selection for the rest of these, and it just presents the selection for this. So you can pick that or pick this set of features. So you click on the second button and it just presents the features or the selection options for this selection on the left. I like it all to be dumped out in one big page and scroll up and down, but that's just me. Okay? So Drupal SEO checklist is this module from Valachi. There are lots of SEO modules out there. You should take a look at them. You should figure out if they provide the kind of functionality you need. In most cases, they don't conflict with each other. So take a look and see what you like. So page titles, it'll check to see page titles are unique. URL paths will make sure that that path auto is set. Create search engine accounts. It just makes sure that you have, Google, Yahoo, Bing accounts. It'll allow you to make sure that you're tracking your visitors. Google Analytics module is kind of the default way to do that. There are lots of ways to do that. Lots of ways to add pieces of JavaScript from Compete, or somebody throw out some of the other ones out there, but there are lots of them that you can use that will track your site, and they just add a little bit of JavaScript to the bottom of every page. So in every case, you want to make sure that each of the search engines is actually seeing your site and seeing the updated XML sitemap. These are some other SEO modules. So the validation module makes sure that the SEO engines, the search engines, Google, Bing, Yahoo, actually see your site. Taxonomy title, I'm not really very familiar with. Menu attributes lets you add attributes to every menu item. You need to just take a look at what it offers, but it's very easy to install. Apache Solar we talked about. OpenCalais is a Reuters offering. It's free. It auto tags your content. You really ought to take a look at it. It can go crazy and auto tag beyond your expectations or desires, but you should take a look at auto. If you're interested in auto tagging, for example, if we write press releases, so we create lots of content. Inside those press releases are company names. If I forget to tag a company name, I just leave it out of the tagging. Calais will go through and go, oh, I recognize that name, and it'll tag it automatically. And I like that. I like that feature. More like this. This is a pretty common feature on lots of websites, which is just, if I've looked at this page, these pages might be similar, and they might be content that might be of value to you. So Google Website Optimizer is a way to do A/B testing and other kinds of testing directly. And there's a module that will allow you to do that. SEO Friend is one of those many other SEO modules. I'm not running that, so I'm gonna pass on commenting. So Veloci, they wrote the book. Clients get ROI. I'll actually show you some of my results. One of the things I will say is that Veloci does not build websites. So for almost everybody, they're not a competitor. They're a potential partner. So they're a pretty good partner because they're all over the place. I say keep your eye on Google. Since I'm going to make this available, I didn't even try to make this readable. But this just goes through and kind of talks about what Google does with your website content. So there are lots of infographics out there. This is one of those cool infographics. You can pull it down and look at it. Or you can go to PPC blog, which is the original source, which got cut off. What I would do is I would just keep an eye on Google. Google changes its search algorithm occasionally, right? They changed it in the last 60 days. Keep an eye on what they're doing, whether it is affecting your site, and take a look at your analytics. Day-to-day analytics or changes are not going to be significant, but you should look at when there's a change in Google, whether something you did or they did had an effect. So conversion rate optimization. Bring them to targeted pages. So I'm not going to talk about advertising, but lots of people create landing pages so that they can drive a visitor from an ad to a specific page. I'm not really going to talk about that, but that's probably the most common use of landing pages. We are going to talk about landing pages. So get to the juicy bits, be clear and concise, no clutter. Don't let your presenter read the slides, right? We talked about this earlier, relevant, credible, and easy. That's from that book. Helpful, generous, and remarkable. So this is what HubSpot's talking about. And HubSpot kind of pushes the social media aspect of things. So when they're saying be helpful, provide stuff that people, the potential site visitor, wants to find. Helpful. Generous, maybe give them something. Give them access to a white paper, access to a guide, and be remarkable in that they're likely to share it. So that's what they're really talking about. So nice, complicated chart. The Veloci presentation had 3 charts as to what a web visitor goes through as they go through checkout. So I don't really expect everybody to take a look at every single. Can you read this from the back? Okay. So people come in, they come in all different kinds of ways. Organic search, like from a search engine like Google. Paid traffic, which is your advertising, then driven by the ad, right? Direct traffic, I keyed in MediaFirst.net because Jim mentioned it, right? Referral, your buddy told you. Referral, I paid somebody to redirect the traffic from their site to your site. Email campaigns, other things. So your visitor comes to the site, they connect for whatever reasons, maybe some of them leave, they buy, they give you a lead, whatever. If you're in e-commerce, there's order processing. Order processing could also be like delivering free content. They give you your name, their name address, like email address, minimal information, and you give them something, okay? So I don't know where this statistic came from. This is from Veloci, but conversion rates aren't high, right? They're going up, but they're not high. Veloci.com seminar. Go there. Landing page optimization, okay? Basically for everything, okay? So Google doesn't rank websites, it ranks pages, okay? So anything that's significant that you're trying to present to somebody needs to be presented as its own landing page. This is kind of the next step of where I'm taking some of the things that I'm doing with my site. You know, I have category pages, I have service offering pages, but this is kind of the next kind of optimization for me. So lots of landing pages are simpler than your home page, right? You want to give them a very specific piece of information, and you want them to take a very specific action. Hopefully they are going to that page because they've been driven there by the content that's relevant or an ad that's relevant, and they're going there because they expect to take an action. Okay? So we'll talk a little bit about establishing trust, site consistency, phone numbers. Don't be pushy, right? Provide some images that say that that give you credibility. Acquia partnership pretty much rocks if you haven't looked into that. So you can also destroy trust with complete disconnects. So the guy's searching for Red Sox jerseys, and what did they get? They get Lakers jerseys, right? So not a good thing. So this is just an example. This is the old Valachi site and their customer. It has phone numbers, images of credibility. This is actually a Valachi customer. Better Business Bureau and others. One of the things that we do in the PR business is that we get our clients awards. So it could be the 40 Under 40 is an Atlanta award. So lots of our clients have won that kind of award in the past. You can get awards from different kind of technology publications for the work that either you've done or that your client has done. So I stole this from Sugar CRM, but I kind of like this. So, you know, in the past we were used to providing reference customers, right? Well, on the web we're providing reference customers, but they come in a different way, right? You have LinkedIn references. You have Facebook, where people are friending your brand and then putting it out there saying, I like your brand, or I've interacted with your brand. So testimonials, I mean, this is really common. Zappos, we know. The Zappos guys took me to dinner at DrupalCon a year ago. That was fun. Just randomly ran into them. HubSpot's, you know, I talked about them having lots of interesting information and data. This is conversion rate by how many form fields. You know, if you don't ask for any information, that looks kind of strange. If you ask for name, email address, and phone number, 3, you get the highest conversion rate. When you start asking for more and more information, people don't want to fill it out. People wonder what in the world you need it for. Okay? Different kind of button text. Click here, go, submit. Can't even read my own slides. This is perfect. Pardon? Download, register, thank you. Oh yeah, thank you. So just button text makes a difference. That's what they're saying. There's that software Optimizely. There's other software like that. Okay? Too much information, pushy by now. So we'll talk a little bit about the forms. So when you have a landing page or you have a form, like a contact form, so you're trying to capture a lead with a certain kind of form, you know, do some quality assurance on it, have eyeballs check it. So make sure that the kind of information that people expect to see is there. So we're gonna take a look at something, and I want you to figure out if you can find all this information when I show the example. 7 seconds, ready?
That was pretty quick. It was 4 seconds.
Actually, I didn't expect it to do that at all. Ben's got it set up to do this automatically. Okay, so what's the company?
Store.
What are they trying to sell? Which ones get free shipping? They all do. I made it too small. Call to action, buy, get more information, secondary call to action. So this is a very simple example. Ben had more examples. Get free shipping on iPad, have some questions, ask, call, look for more information. Here's where the information is, right? So Ben suggests you always collect data. You know, if you're going to collect data, you really ought to be thinking about what you're going to do with the data, right? I would say that more than one of us out here has data that we don't use. So what are we collecting data for, and how do we expect to use it? So A/B testing, it could be a button, it could be text, okay? If you look at the new Veloci website, it's actually much simpler than this, much more direct to the point. But you're looking for the conversion rate. What's the conversion rate? What are the dollars in the bank? That's what counts. So go check out Veloci. So I'm going to back off for a minute, and we're just going to go take an overview, right? Overview. So we're going to try to get found. We're going to publish content. We're going to promote things. We're going to optimize our content. We're going to do content management, blogging, maybe some social media, obviously SEO. We're going to take a look at the analytics. We're going to do some conversion, calls to action or offers, promotions, landing pages, maybe do some email, leads, lead intelligence, lead management. You might need a customer relationship management system to do that. So I decided to take a look at HubSpot, and one of the reasons is because they have free tools. Okay, so one is called Grader.com, and now they have websitegrader.com. They actually have website.grader.com and twitter.grader.com and blog.grader.com and a whole bunch of stuff. So when I started this in 2008, okay, my site looked like it wasn't terrible, okay? And so HubSpot has its own metrics, and we'll go over that in a second. But over time, I was able to bring my website up, and then recently I've been traveling in the last month. I went to DrupalCon, and I went to South by Southwest, and my blogging lagged, and I've dropped. That's that little drop. It's a crude metric, but it's one that, one of the things that's very entertaining to me is when somebody says, oh, their website's great, and you plug their website into the HubSpot website grader, and it comes out with a grade of 10, right? It's a pretty definitive way to say your website isn't what you think it is, okay? So these are just some of the metrics. Does it have a blog? What's the grade for the blog? Basically, it's a function of how recently you've published, right? Is there a site index? How many pages? Is it readable? I'm an engineer, right? My readability level is higher than it should be. Tisk, tisk, okay? Metadata, does it have unique page titles? Does it have a page description that goes with that? Does it have just one H1 tag, okay? Often on Drupal sites, I see more than one H1 tag, okay? That, Google will ding you for things like that. Images, are there enough images but not too many? Is it gonna slow your site down, for example? Are there alt image tags? Is everybody familiar with alt image tags? Everybody who had to code HTML knows alt image tags or has, disability, accessibility are the guidelines. Do think about accessibility guidelines. And things like alt image tagging will help your SEO. Does it have interior pages, landing pages? How old is your domain? The funny thing about HubSpot is if your domain expires in the next 3 months, they ding you for it. Okay? So, are you listed with what is it, DMOZ? Are you listed on Yahoo? Yahoo directory? How many domains link to you? Are you tweeting? Are you tweeting from the domain? Is there some kind of linkage? Does it have an RSS feed? Does it have ways to convert? And then I'm going to give you some comparisons. These are my real competitors, okay? So MediaFirst, this was a couple months ago, 95. Archetti. Anybody know Archetti? They're here. Okay, 95. Archetti, they have great design. They look like a great firm. I actually don't know them at all. But they're the ones in town that give me a hard time, okay? There's some other firms. The guys from Carabiner have been around forever. Their website grade is 52, okay? I have an SEO campaign. Do you see any difference in how much linking is here? So Archetti's doing a better job blogging, and I'm making up for it. Okay. Very briefly, this is social reputation, okay? And I'm not going to talk about it very long, but I mean, I'm in the PR business, and you need to be careful what you do online, okay? I have about 20 people asking me to link to them on LinkedIn. I'm not even sure who they are, right? They're like school kids in India. That was my latest one. So there's two sides of this. One is who's trying to connect to you, but also what are you out there saying? I'm not sure that as a rugby player I would get an A grade in all my social behavior, but I do online in my Facebook profile and stuff. Okay, those are important. There are lots of other tools out here. I found this tool, Open Site Explorer, and I use that competitor, Archetti. Don't tell Archetti I was doing this. Right? Page authority, domain authority, total links. Okay, so again, I kick them in total links. So things like this can show you competition with one or more competitors. So these are things that Veloci doesn't do, but they're things that I've done. And you know, going back lots of years, I did some SEO consulting for my clients. Social media. Here my engagement hit 100%. I was at South by Southwest with the kings of social media, out there doing social media all the time. And then I went to DrupalCon. I kind of backed off and got a little geekier. So the only thing I'll say, I mean, this is called Sprout Social. I don't recommend any particular tool. I just recommend that you find one that you like and kind of monitor your engagement and you know, see what you can do. So I just like this example. So I retweeted something that Guy Kawasaki said. Guy Kawasaki from ex-Apple marketing guy. And it got 14,000 impressions, that link, because of my tweet. And it just talks about the power of social media and the power of linking. I think Google's now indexing tweets, right? Okay. This is a far too complicated slide to present to any audience. I'm not even sure why. I'm not even sure where this came from. Content and context. So out there, especially if you own a business that has a location, people are using location-based services. LBS is the industry term. Foursquare, Gowalla, other things like this to help people, Google Places, to help people find your business, to help people engage with your business there. I just checked in at Diesel Pizza. That's owned by some friends of mine in Roswell. You can check in at Matrix Resources. Thank them for the use of the space and saving us with a replacement projector. So more and more things are going to be content and context. But you can kind of see what's going on. So I was talking about Flickr and users and photos and sharing and connections to blogs. That's what's going on here. And since I'm giving you these slides, you can go check it out. I thought this was interesting because this was it says Quick Start Guide to Social Media for Business. Okay? And what is it? It's a content strategy for social media. Now, I was talking earlier about that book, Content Strategy for the Web. It's the same thing. What is your audience? How can I engage with my audience? How often am I going to engage with my audience? What's their expectation? Do I need to blog every day, every other day, every week, every month? How am I going to schedule that? Who's going to create the content? So whether it's social media, whether it's content for your blog, whether it's content for your website, this is actually kind of a good guide to thinking about that process step by step. Okay? This is McKinsey. They're an analyst. One of the things that we do with our clients is we do analyst relations with our clients. So our clients engage analysts, and we help them use the services of the analysts well. So I'm connected to a bunch of analysts. McKinsey said this about websites. And so you're trying to capture internet traffic, increase engagement. This is mostly for consumers now. Capture qualified leads, and continue to build loyalty. Okay? And they're saying earn 10 to 20% of total incremental revenue from new and loyal customers through online channels. So we have the web as a low-cost way to get to your customer, and these are the ways that McKinsey is recommending. And I think most of you who are familiar with the Drupal community are aware that these are the things that Drupal's doing as well. I mentioned all the services before: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Flickr, YouTube, as magnets to get people to come to your website. I found these, and I couldn't help but put them in, even though my time has actually run out. Okay? So I'm going to keep going. Keyword research. Okay? One-word phrases, SEO. Two-word phrases, SEO agency. Longer phrases. Okay? When you're thinking about keywords, right? Does everybody have keywords for their website? Has everybody looked at the multi-word phrases that are driving their search traffic? It's in your log, right? The SEO guy's doing that. That's a really good sign, right? So what is your log saying is the term that your visitor has used to go to Google or Bing or Yahoo and end up at your website. That's what it's about. So look through those phrases, make sure you're optimizing for them. And if you don't like my answer, ask the SEO guy who's smiling in the back. Okay? Link building. I talked about my link building versus Archetti's. All I want to say here is press releases. Anybody see the press release on Jim Caruso talking about SEO at the Atlanta Drupal users group yesterday? Well, I sent Barb the link. Okay. So I'm glad you saw it. And Paul's my friend, and now I'm happy to say that. So I'm only going to say about that. Anyway, blogs. This is blog. This is Stumble Upon, Twitter, Facebook, Dig. So you can post your content, your blog content or other content, to all these different places. Or other people can post them, right? So other people can dig, which is basically linking to your content from Dig and keeping it on their Dig profile, right? All this is other ways to create traffic for you and some kind of viral interaction with your audiences. We talked about this before, but I really like this graphic, even though it's Wikipedia, which I don't think is so good. But so what's the URL for each page? Okay, we talked about Path Auto, creating nice page titles. Okay, page titles in the URL. Okay, we talked about the page title module, which makes sure that page titles are unique. Okay, we talked about images and the file names for the image, or the purpose of the image file, which goes in that alt image field. Body text, which can be searched, right? This is where most of your search engine juice comes from, is great text. Video is important now, which is another thing that I'm working on for my site. Page headings, H1 and H2, first heading, second heading, third, fourth, whatever. Bold and italics, other things that distinguish text. So I just thought that was a good example, so I wanted to use it. SEO versus PPC, okay? So you have SEO, organic search, right? You're not paying for the traffic. People are finding it through the search engine. So once you have good SEO and people are finding you, once you have good conversion rate optimization, people are coming to your site, they're finding the content that they want, you're facilitating a way to capture the lead or get them to take the next action. What can you do then? Once you have things working well, landing pages, conversion rates, so on, then you can think about advertising, okay? PPC is pay-per-click advertising. So if you're not doing that, you can get more traffic from that, and it's just a question of, does your site suck and it's not worth advertising? Because you really need to take a look at all these other things that we've been talking about today before you go spend a lot of money on advertising. You will create traffic. There's no question about it. But if you don't have, if you're not driving people to the right landing pages, you may be wasting your advertising dollar. I will note that I've done some advertising on Facebook. I've done some advertising on LinkedIn. These are relatively new ways to do advertising. Obviously Google, and there are a million different ways to advertise. Okay? Site structure, again, this is really that comment about the fact that every page is distinctly reviewed by Google. So you don't get a rank for your website, you get a rank for your page. I thought this was a cool graphic, and that's mostly why I put it in here. It happens to do with Facebook. And so I used the cool graphic as a way to stop and say, take a long look at what's going on Facebook, okay? How do Facebook users interact with your site? Mine's a business-to-business site. I don't have a lot of business users in the 35-plus demographic interacting with me on Facebook, okay? But there are lots of consumer sites where that is a critical part of their traffic. I do think that it's important to recognize that Facebook doesn't owe you anything, right? Facebook isn't your website, okay? The content that you put there isn't your content, right? You may be able to get conversion from Facebook, and you should try to do that, and you can sign up for my newsletter on Facebook, for example. But you ought to think about whether you're driving people to Facebook or whether you're driving people to your website. And that's really the comment that I want to make there. We actually talked about this earlier. This is the duplicate slide. This is just kind of how do you make your site friendly, content that users want, usability, make it easy, make sure the spiders, the search engine spiders, can find the content, that there's no duplication of page titles, no duplication of page content. Make it easy to click through your site, make good keywords. That's a really general description, and we've done much deeper stuff today, but sometimes it's good to do that. So, hopefully you found this valuable. Hopefully you're on your way to greatness, or at least it's opened your eyes as to the different ways that you can do search engine optimization. And I am going to take questions now. Questions over here.
What's your take on some of the sites and services that basically let you post in one place and they're supposed to disseminate it out to all the social networking sites? How will those work, or do they even work best?
Some of them work well. If you find one you like and isn't expensive, let me know. I think one of the things that's happening is as social media changes, which it does every day, there are websites out there doing those kinds of things. So he's talking about like going to one site and posting your content and then having that content show up on Facebook and LinkedIn and Dig and Stumble Upon and Reddit and all the other sites, okay? You can find me on like 300 different social networking sites just because I'm exploring those things for my customers, right? And there are thousands, okay? But the question is which ones are important, and what do you have to pay to get your content on that? Because a lot of your blog content can be driven, for example, directly to LinkedIn, directly to Facebook. So, you know, if you're getting RSS feeds and you have Drupal doing that for you, I don't know. I happen to like Wildfire is one of the services out there. They have a couple freemium offerings that you can go check out. Some of them are really expensive. So, does that answer your question?
Do you have any comments on CRM and linking them into Drupal, like Salesforce or some others?
Lots of people do Salesforce integration. We have a client in New Jersey called Blink Reaction. They are a Drupal shop. They've done quite a few Salesforce integrations. There are some modules out there. People have also custom coded a lot of things related to Salesforce. A lot of people use Civic CRM. I'm trying to think, there's a Sugar module out there for integration with Drupal. You know, if you want your user list to sync between your website and your CRM system, then yeah, a lot of those tools will do those kinds of things. Are you using Salesforce, for example?
I'm a Salesforce administrator, but
Okay.
I'm looking to get it. I want to get some open source stuff going because I don't like the monthly fee.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's there's a Sugar module, right? There's a Sugar CRM module for
It's
Drupal.
I think it's just a web form to lead.
Yeah.
That will,
Yeah, web-
So and that's where you see this functionality difference. Is it a web form to lead, or is it actually going to sync the data?
going back in.
And so, anyway, more questions? Kennesaw.
Yes, how often, because everybody blogs these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, how often is too much? I know that's kind of a tough question, but at some point, when are you starting to turn people off? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I don't even know that it's a question. Did you finish your question? I'm sorry, I interrupted you. But
that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you. So how often? I think it's really a question of attention span. It's a question of audience and attention span. I follow a couple bloggers. I happen to meet Darren Rouse, who goes by Pro Blogger. Okay. I have followed the guy Copy Blogger. I have met Chris Brogan, and he's done a bunch of stuff for friends of mine. So you could follow people like this, and you can see how often they're posting. They basically post once a day, and you can go to their blog and you can get their email. I think it's good to take a look at what those people are doing and see how often they post. But usually it's not more than once a day. I mean, those guys are kind of on a one-a-day track because they're trying to get in, keep you out there. Question back there.
As a follow-on to that, you just said, these guys are on a one-a-day track. Maybe they're professional bloggers, I don't know.
Oh, they are, yeah.
For example, I have a law firm that actually do some SEO stuff for them. And my number one complaint is trying to get content out of these guys.
Out of an attorney who's on billable to hours? I can't imagine why.
What's a reasonable expectation for a client in terms of blogging? Is it once a day? Is it once a week? Is it once a month? Is there a curve that says, well, once a day you're not going to be able to achieve that, so don't even try for it. But once a week, what you absolutely have to do to keep fresh content out there.
A lot of these bloggers, there was a question that came through the website about affiliate marketing, okay? And I don't know who asked the question, but there was this question. So the pro bloggers, all those professional bloggers, Pro Blogger, Chris Brogan, all those guys, have affiliate marketing deals. I would go look at them to see how they're doing. But I mean, that's the business that they're in. They're not billing time as an attorney. So the question that you have to face is, can you find somebody who can write about the issues? And so we're in the PR business, right? So we do blogging for some people. We've written some of the blogs for Blink Reaction. And I think that's a good example because they had their developers writing them before, and maybe those weren't the most user-friendly, right? I've been in the Drupal community for a long time, so I can write about Drupal. We have other pretty good technical writers in the company that have written them as well. But so what I would say is, as an attorney, what is the issue that you want your audience to see? It may or may not be an issue that the attorney needs to write about. So can you identify the issue? So supply chain and logistics, I talked about, working in that business, and we actually have a lot of clients and have for more than 10 years. We have one client we've had for 11 years, just one client in supply chain and logistics. So they're a strategic supply chain design firm, Insight Inc., out of Manassas, Virginia. We don't have anything to do with their website, but we have a lot to do with their public relations. So when there's a volcano, when there's an earthquake, when there's a swine flu outbreak, right? These are issues that are issues about supply chain because it's disruptive to the supply chain. So it's an industry issue that people have to face. So we write press releases about that. And if they had a blog, we would have them put it on their blog. So I would say as an attorney, find issues that are important to your customers. They could be tax issues, they could be intellectual property interpretations, because there's lots of issues there, suits about intellectual property. I mean, there's all kinds of things as an attorney you can find. If you're in the venture capital space, there's all kinds of stuff as well.
Two quick other kind of follow-up thoughts to that. One, maybe recommend that they set an editorial schedule. Like, if they just kind of blog whenever they have time, then they're not going to do it. But if you block off Friday afternoons and they kind of divide and conquer, maybe the expectation is each attorney has to write one blog a month. But if 20 attorneys are doing it, it increases their content. Secondly, the trend now is to hire actual copywriters and content editors. So they create 10 different law firm articles, and they can either do it as a guest blog, or the attorney can editorialize it and sprinkle in their own comments, and I think it comes from them. But, yeah, we've had kind of a similar issue, where if we didn't kind of set some kind of expectation and schedule, then it just wasn't getting done. So.
Have you had luck with your interns?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, we know. Yeah.
All over the map on interns. In the back there.
I just saw a stat that said in March that Bing has gained 30% of searches.
Right.
Is there anything special you do as far as SEO for one search engine versus another? Is it back like the browser where you got customized things, or do you just follow best practices?
I think it's mostly best practices. Do you have any specific comment? You're in the search engine space.
Everybody follows Google, especially.
Yeah. I mean, here's if you didn't catch that, Google recently caught Bing copying its search results, and I mean blatantly copying. And Matt Cutts, whose blog I posted up there, he mentions the specific examples that are kind of, these are not mistakes, right? And he says very nice things about Microsoft people. I've met a bunch of Microsoft people in the last few years. Mostly on the West Coast or Seattle people, and I find them generous. And we did work for Extreme Logic. If you know Extreme Logic in town, Wayne Kellum, we were the PR firm for them when they got famous and were bought by Hewlett Packard. I think the traffic that's going to Bing is people who are more Microsoft oriented. Okay, I don't know why. My traffic's coming from Google. It's coming also from Bing. It's actually, I get a lot of traffic off Twitter. I have 14,000 Twitter followers, and people are going to my profile, looking at my profile, and coming back to my website. So, you just have to take a look at who your audience is. If your audience is very, if they're all MSDN, Microsoft people, then yeah, you're gonna want Big, and I don't have an answer to that. In the back again. I'm sorry, I can't. Oh, robots, the robots.txt file, which is a file that sits in the home directory of your website. There are some very specific guidelines to put in there. I did that a long time ago, and I can't remember what's in my robots.txt right now. There are a bunch of examples on Drupal.org, and I don't. There's a default robots.txt in the Acquia Drupal distribution. If you have a specific question, maybe I can respond. Anybody else want to take that one?
Well, the first thing about it is that it's only well-behaved spiders that pay attention to it. So don't count on it for security in any way, shape, form, or fashion. The second thing is if you've got directories with stuff that shouldn't be indexed, just put those in there.
Okay. Yeah, you can put no follow links on your website, or you can block out directories in robots.txt and stuff. So.
Just real quick comment. Jim kind of emphasized them, but I will totally validate Hubspot. It's a service, a company you guys should absolutely check out. They were founded by some ex-MIT guys. We don't get any kickbacks. We're not a partner, but they are the absolute leaders in this whole inbound marketing concept. And the tool that he mentioned, Jim kind of glossed over, but he did mention it's a really, really neat tool called Website Grader. Websitegrader.com. It takes 10 seconds. You can plug in any URL and you get a very detailed report from HubSpot. So if you want to impress a client, go and put in their URL and you can highlight everything that they're doing right or wrong, right there. But we use HubSpot a lot. I mean, I really follow those guys closely, and they're really the thought leaders in inbound marketing. And for Drupal sites, Kolachi is definitely great as a Drupal SEO shop. And like Jim said, they wrote a book on
HubSpot does use Drupal occasionally.
Yeah, they do. I know they're based in Boston, and them and Acquia, I think, have had a relationship. I think they just started one.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. So let me use this example. I forgot I had put this on. I added this late last night, actually. So I put in Drupal development into Google in parentheses, okay? And I actually think I put Drupal development in Atlanta. And so there were 3 advertisers on the top and a couple advertisers on the right and 3 main firms. And these were the grades that HubSpot Grader gave those sites. I plugged them into the website grader tool. So, yeah, so somebody who claims to be a Drupal shop is getting 55% on website grader. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they really are that terrible, but you can see that there's a wide range just on Drupal sites, okay? Most of the good Drupal shops were up here, the ones that I know. So anyway, we don't have to talk about this slide, but I probably won't advance it. It's 8:20.
So where are you posting the slides again? Where are you
I'm going to post them at mediafirst.net/SEO-Atlanta. Okay, and I'll put them up by tomorrow. Any last questions? Because Dave's going to throw me off the stage.
Just back on the blogging, what's the pros and cons of allowing comments on your blogs?
Yeah, it's a question of user engagement. So how are you going to allow comments? I use Malum, which is that blog spam filter. It's like, I think it's a Kismet on WordPress, okay? Malum works like a charm. But even though I have Malum blocking spam blog comments, I still require a review. Now, what does that do? It prevents people from, creating profiles and getting engaged on my site. So it's a question of how much engagement do you want. You can also use, there are lots of other tools.
If you allow comments, then it's going to take more time, because you can't just say, once a week I'm going to do this. You've got to
watch it and respond to people.
Right.
And so you're going to have to devote more time to that.
You know, I think you should look at Robert Scoble, right? He's a well-known blogger, Chris Brogan. Check those guys out, see what they're doing. I mean, because they're posting, but they're also posting on places like Quora and other places, and they're checking out new things. I have actually forgotten the name of the service that provides like some comment review, and there's some third-party JavaScript plugins that'll...
We just started using Discus.
Discus, that's the one.
That's really good.
Yeah, so I was using Discus, and I think it's very good. And you might, it's DISQUS, and it's a blog comment, so they'll monitor blog comments, and you have to register at the Discus site. So they kind of do the visitor purification right for you. Okay?
Are they eyes on blog comments?
They provide a replacement comment form, and then they capture the comment and they post it on their site, and it also stays on your site. And that's a way to get wider user engagement, because somebody can go to your site and Dave's site and my site, and they can all post on Discus, and they only have to have a Discus account. They don't have to actually go register on my site. Just like, you know, if you have all these social media, OAuth, OAUTH is the standard for allowing people to sign on with their Facebook account or their LinkedIn account or Twitter account. And that's what Discus uses as well. So it allows people to sign on a lot more readily, and it'll allow you, I mean, for most people it's a pain in the butt to actually register with every single site that they use. People just don't like it. Last question.
Is anything you're doing to for a mobile search, like go to strategy to reach those people that are using small screen users to your website?
Screen sizes are changing, right? There's all this thing about, you know, is the iPhone going to be big, or is it going to be Droid phones, Android phones? Are tablets going to take over? You know, what's going to be the screen size for the future? Mobile's hot. Everybody knows mobile's hot. Everybody knows that more and more mobile users are going to start searching from the web. My traffic is not coming from there right now. There's another thing. As a user, you know, I'm a power user, so I hate using me as an example because I'm a bad example. I hate it when people dumb down their website and give me a mobile site. It really offends me. I'm likely to leave if they do that, because I want to be able to, you know, I can scroll through my phone. I mean, I have a little iPhone. It's an old iPhone. I can scroll through my phone and I can find the exact button that I want to press, hopefully, on that full website, whereas I can't on a small website. So I'm very mixed about sending people that kind of stuff. I think it's better, like if you're going to send them a newsletter, send it by email and let them pick the mobile version of the email or something like that. Then they're getting a choice of what version they get. I've also seen websites offer, like they'll feed you the mobile version and they'll give you a button right on top that says, would you really like to go to the regular version? And then I'm really happy.
A company that was in DrupalCon in Chicago, so if you have a current Drupal site and you want to make sure it's mobile and tablet kind of compatible, and you want a mobile version, it's called Mobify.
Yeah.
Eric probably knows more about them than I do, but they're, I think, a partner of Acquia.
Yeah.
Really cool company.
It's
Mobify, M-O-B-I-F-Y.
So Mobify is part of Drupal Gardens now, right? It's an extension to Drupal.
It's part of the Acquia network.
Acquia network. Okay, my bad.
Anybody that's still interested in doing some SEO, also recommend going to marketing experiments. I don't know if you've been there, and then also the marketing experiment has a lot of information on A/B testing.
Okay, so Dave's gonna throw me off, and I'm really happy to do this. Let me make one last comment because people are interested in Drupal 7. All these modules that I talked about that were available for Drupal 6 will be probably available for Drupal 7. They're not there right now. So doing full-out SEO the way you would like to be able to do it on Drupal 7 isn't there. I like to keep track of what Acquia is actually running live on Drupal Gardens. in terms of modules, because then I know that stuff's pretty stable. And then, you know, and then you can decide what else you want to add. But I don't want to go run a bunch of beta modules. I just don't want to do that. I used to do that. I don't like that anymore.
So two quick things. Please pick up after yourself if you have cups and everything. We really want to try to keep the facilities clean for Matrix. They're nice enough to let us use the room for free. And I mentioned Drupal Camp Atlanta. I forgot to mention that if you're interested in getting involved or forming committees and things now to help put up the website, just help with logistics, planning, stuff like that. So you can shoot me an email or just see me, and we'll get you on a committee and helping out. And thank you, Jim.
Thank you all. Grab my business card. I'll trade business cards with you, and we can spam each other on LinkedIn.
We'll have the video. Usually the video is going to be available